As the author of The Unexpected Stranger, our guest shares a personal, relatable story of her resilience, self-discovery, and transformation. Our guest is a 15 years of divorced mother and 25-year career in office management, accounting, and event planning, which has changed their passion for inspiring others to face challenges with courage and purpose. They have navigated relationships which are impacted by PTSD, ADHD, and verbal abuse, sharing insights to foster understanding and growth. As an entrepreneur, our guest runs an e-commerce store and works as a marketing consultant, offering tools for personal and professional empowerment. Their mission is to inspire audiences to embrace their journeys and rewrite their stories. We welcome Lady J. Harris to the journey. Hi,
Well, hello there, David. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
you're welcome. Everyone has a journey. Everyone knows there's a journey out there somewhere, even if it's undiscovered. But obviously, journeys have to start. What was your earliest memory that kick-started your journey?
Well, I mean, you have to go all the way back to childhood when it got started, when you started really to know who you were. As we come up, we're always kind of looking, paying attention, but as you become an adult, then you really know what it is. So I came from a great childhood. I would say sheltered, or maybe I came out a little bit naive. And so I encountered my first unexpected stranger in college. That's the name of my book, The Unexpected Stranger by Lady J. And it just kind of takes you through my journey. Unexpected stranger. Looking at the front of my book, there's no face, there's no nationality. I did it on purpose because I want you to go through this journey and find out how this character gets through the unexpected events.
Yeah, and obviously, unexpected events at a young age can happen a lot more. I'm not saying it does happen when you're older, but when you're younger, you experience a lot more life lessons because you're learning it still.
Absolutely. And you don't really know what to do about it at that point.
Yeah,
So
and
you bring it with you.
yeah, and that's what the naivety, the whatever you want to call it, naivety is the main one I'm thinking, but that's where mistakes happen because I know when I was a young age, I tended to make more mistakes than I do when I'm older.
Absolutely.
So this was obviously the early part of the journey. And did you feel like there was purpose of how you was writing the character as you was writing this book? Did you feel like this can be relatable because I see how I was at that age?
Oh, absolutely. We're running into now a lot of mental illness. I talk about the silent generation, our parents and our parents before us.
Mm.
You really didn't hear too much of what they did. They kept everything silent. And so then when it came to our generations and the generations after, it's beginning to come out in that generation.
Yeah,
I'm telling everybody, there's so many people that's speaking out about mental illness to get help.
yeah,
Find help. You have insurance now that'll be able to pay uh, for your mental illness. It could be ADHD, it could be PTSD, it can be depression, it can be so many things.
yeah. And those key highlights you talk about, like ADHD, or, I would give another example, autism.
Yes.
It's enough, I'm not saying it's a stigma, but it feels like people are worried that it will stigmatize them because of they would be treated differently, but at the same time, it's getting out for themselves.
That is so true, especially when we were coming up. Everything was like if you had to go to a counselor, if you had to go get some help, you was crazy. Something was wrong with you. In order for you to be the best you can be in these days and time, you have to get help. A lot of times we couldn't help what happened to us in childhood or when we were a teenager or what have you. But when you become grown, you tend to bring all that baggage with you.
Yeah.
You know, in my journey, I end up having a hospital experiences as I was checking in. My head was pounding so heavily that I just collapsed right there on the hospital floor. And of course, it took 3 days for them to try to find out if there was anything wrong with me. Thank God, everything was negative, but yet my my head was about to explode. And so
Yeah.
the doctor just went on ahead and pulled up a chair and said, "Look, can you tell me what happened to what's been going on in your life in the last 2 or 3 years?" I I sat there in the bed and just cried and gave him what had happened to me. He said, "Okay, I want you to go to a neurologist, make sure everything is good, but I'm gonna put you up with a psychiatrist and a therapist."
Mm.
That changed my life. I usually say God, prayer, and therapy. You have to talk out your problems and get directions, have boundaries, have self-discovery, growth in order for you to be the best you can be. You got to have love. You have to have forgiveness so that you can be your best self.
Yeah. And it's about addressing those things to make yourself a better person. Now,
Absolutely.
now recently I've been talking about this, about people being able to write things. And, there is a thing at the end of a podcast which highlights this. This is about a person who writes poetry. Now, they've always known they like poetry, but at the same time, they've always been stifled into not being able to be their true selves. Yes, they like writing, but it's only taken them the last year to get further than where they are now. And where they are now, I'm pleased with their progress because they've got books out themselves. They publish poetry books because they believed in themselves. Now, before they would have doubted it, they would have had self-doubt because of certain elements in their life holding them back. But,
I
but,
truly believe that you do have to believe in yourself. And at that time, I'm going through therapy. That's why it's important to have it. Whatever, had shaken your world,
mm,
that you need to be able to get through that. So as I was just kind of telling people some of my experience, they was like, Lady J, you should write a book. I
mm,
just laughed it off. Oh yeah. Yeah, write a book. Who knows how to write a book? And then my therapist, yeah, she was laughing at first, but she said, you should write a book. She said, even if you don't publish it, if you write out all the different things that has happened to you, you'll have a story. Then you can decide if you want to publish it or not.
yeah,
And that's how I began. I started in January of last year, and by November, only because two, it probably would have taken me shorter than that, but other responsibilities, even though I was divorced for 15 years, I remarried and had been married for 15 years.
mm,
And so that being a caregiver, taking care of the home, being an entrepreneur, and now being a new author, there's a lot going on.
yeah. And obviously, it's about adapting again to the certain circumstances around you. And this is what I was saying about this author I'm talking about. She had distractions. She had a lot
Yes.
of you know, she had a lot of negativity thrown at her. I'm not saying she doesn't work because she does work. She works, and then she's got the stressors of things in between that, and she manages to write poetry. She's always coming up with new ideas. She's written it into, like I said, these books, and I'm proud of how she's gone because the progress that she's made in this short space of time
Yes.
shows you, even if you've got a load of stuff in the way, baggage or whatever you want to call it as, she was still able to progress beyond those realms and then get to where she is now. And I'm proud of that.
I'm also I'm proud of anyone because success is not easy. It's not going to come on a silver platter. You're going to have distractions. You're going to have struggles. But if you keep persevering, you will have that blessing on the other side. Outside of with this book coming up, I also have another book that I'm also working on.
Mm.
Once the juices start flowing, there's things that people really need to know. There are distractions out there. How are you going to handle it? A lot of people don't know how to get from point A to point B. A lot of them don't have time to really figure out from A to B. Sometimes it costs them money. That's why I think these podcasts are so important
Mm.
because it gives people a little enlightenment of what different books are about so that it can help their particular situation.
Yeah, and the thing is, the disheartening fact about, I'm not saying it is the case for everyone, but when you do start out, you're not recognized enough to be saying, look at me, I am Lady J, look at me, I am David, whoever.
Exactly.
And you feel like, I'm not getting anywhere, it's taken forever. And I've heard that, it's a constant, like, I'm trying and I said, you're trying your best. And you are trying your best, no matter how small it seems, and it's a little to begin with. And yes, maybe podcast promoting it will help it in a way, but at the same time, all major authors that we know of, the major authors, they started off small, but at the same time, if you hit the right notes and you tell the right people, like you're telling your journey, and I know this person wants to talk about their journey, and I will have them on in the near future. But it's about starting off small and persevering with it that will make it stronger for you.
I totally agree because we get this thing of, oh, I'm a new author. I'm just going to let my family and friends know. I'm just going to splatter it all over social media and bam, I'm going to sell hundreds to thousands of books. Eh, not exactly. It is who you know. It is being consistent, persevering, making sure you're getting yourself out there, and more opportunities will come because, yeah, you will start off small. But the more you do, the more, hey, you got a second and third book in you, go ahead and do that because one day, very soon, you're going to hear my name everywhere.
Yeah. And that is amazing to hear because I want that sort of encouragement to this author as well. So all new
Oh,
author.
yes. Don't
So
give up. Don't give up because you're going to be so close to your success when it becomes the hardest, you're going to win. Don't give up.
I agree with that totally. So going into the future, because we have touched upon your book as well as touching upon your past where you started your book, but going into the future, you're talking about a second book or whatever book you're writing on. Do you feel like it's a conclusion or is it just a continuation of where you've been as a previous book?
Well, I might take a little to the name of the book yet, but it's going to go deeper more into ourselves because I believe that's what's needed in this day and time. So we don't. The unexpected stranger are the different strangers within our lives, different events, circumstances, how we handle that. The second book will kind of piggyback on it, but it's going to take a different twist.
Mm.
It's going to be well worth the read for sure.
And I know it'll be on probably most bookstores like Amazon. Books,
Absolutely.
I'll say Amazon because that is the generic one that I know. I know there's Barnes and
Barnes
Noble.
and
Yeah.
Noble, all the major ones. But my website is arthurladyj.com. And I do have it where it's globally, you can globally, purchase it.
So
you know.
whichever Amazon or wherever bookstore it be available. I know in England, for example, if you go Amazon, it's amazon.co.uk, not .com.
Exactly. So for people who want to buy it out the country, all they have to do is go to my website, find the one that's in their country, and they can purchase it. I'll also put my second book on there as well, so that they're all the Swirl Like Bee together.
Okay, and the last ultimate question is, because I know you're motivating authors and including authors that are out there, what would you say to anyone pursuing their journey, not just for writing, just for life generally?
Wow. Well, I've kind of said it throughout. Everyone has a journey. We need to pay attention to the journey. We have to build foundations, for those who are spiritual, God, the ultimate, the omnipotent, someone that's bigger than ourselves that can lead and guide us and heal us and love us not like no other. That helps to build ourselves up. Once you build that foundation and he leads you, if it is to inspire others, then he will be able to put you in that position to do so. From the different podcasts and everything that I'm doing, it's beginning to open up doors, trainings with mental health awareness. Then you'll be able to get out to be able to truly help people. Also, I have an opportunity to become a certified life coach. So the book will be able to open up. People will see your talents. They will be able to say, hey, even on a radio show I was on, I would like you to be a co-host on some of my shows. It's to keep rooted, grounded. It's to, I don't know, lean on that higher power as you go through your journey. It's not going to be easy. Just don't quit.
I agree. And again, in the description will be your link to your website as well as the website where I was talking about where the book for the who's mentioned at the end will be featured in the description below. But Lady J, thank you for sharing your journey with us today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
You're welcome.
Many blessings.
Thank
Take care
And
now.
now,
thank you.
a message from Amy. Amy, it's over to you.
Hello, I am Amy Harrison. I'm the author of the book Feline Warrior Part 1 and Part 2, a fictional story that is written in a poetic format that is based on real-life events that could happen to anyone and intended only for relatable purposes. This story claws into Catgirl's past abuse. Catgirl is human and part feline, but truly a warrior who can handle anything because she is strong and fierce. She has been taken advantage of for far too long. Join her on her journey as she reaches freedom. Here are some poems from Feline Warrior. Tears flow. I no longer know what to do. I am no longer who I once was, and it is because I made a choice to use my voice, and that is okay, because what I had to say was true, unlike me and you. Now I see. I am free. I am me. I am Catgirl. Ultimately, be you. Always stay true. Do what you want to do, because every day is made new. If you want to read more, visit the link in the description. Meow at you later. The Journey Podcast explores stories of personal growth, challenges, and life-changing moments. Each episode dives into unique experiences, offering insights and inspiration for listeners navigating their own paths. I believe everyone has a story worth sharing. If you'd like to share your journey with David and others, email your story to wisewords1983@reborn.com, and it may be featured in a future episode.